OCO, welcome to the Red Road East. I'm your host, Feerce Truth-Seeker. And we're back with another part to The Empire Strikes Black. And as I see, let me turn this down a little bit. There's been some people who have fallen off. Had about 10 more people unsubscribe to the channel. Ask me if I care. I don't care. We've gotten rid of some negative energy. See, I'm burning my sage here, so, it's all of those who fell off. It's not by accident. This is not for the weak. This is only for the strong. So, and this is part one. This is just one topic. We're dealing with the lineage of the Aboriginal movement in the contemporary time. Okay? If y'all can't even deal with that, we ain't even dropping really like no history yet. We're just dealing with a chronology. We're dealing with a timeline. See what I'm saying? We're dealing with how this started up until the present time, as far as the movement is concerned. And people can't even deal with that. Imagine when I really start dropping history. I really start dropping history, they're really going to be lost. So I'm glad they dropped off because, they're not going to know what to think when we really get deep. My show is not monetized. Actually, y'all dropping off, it actually does me a favor. Okay, I got better things to do with my time. I could just share this information with my family. I don't need you. And I'm talking to those fools out there. I'm not talking to my true blue, See, right now, the thing of it is, I only need real troopers. You feel me? I only need real troopers. So all of y'all that fell by the wayside, unsubscribing and stuff like that, that's good. We don't really need, no weak-hearted people. Dead weight. We don't really need that. You feel me? We don't need that. So it's best that you step off. It's best that you just get to stepping. You feel me? Just get to stepping. So but again, I'm not getting upset. It's about that deep breathing, you know. It's about that deep breathing. Had comments. Had some comments. As you know, y'all wonder why I get upset and why I go off on people. Let's see here. Give me a second. I'm just looking. All right, here's this idiot, Carlton Walker again. Brother, take off that turban, looking like the return of Jafar. See, and y'all wonder why I go off. You know, y'all wonder why I go off on people. You see what I'm saying? Like I told you, I have no problem with the new Aboriginal movement. The problem I have is when you have idiots like that who come on my page anytime I wear a turban or a fez. You know, some little minion who doesn't know history, who just became Indian yesterday. Okay? They don't even know what an East Coast headdress looks like. Okay? They don't even practice the culture. Okay? So, somebody like that, that's an idiot that would go to a powwow wearing a long war bonnet, a feathered war bonnet, looking like who done it and ran. Okay? Because he doesn't understand the culture. He just knows what he saw on Hollywood. What he saw in Hollywood. Okay? And this is the problem with these people. And that's why, you know, people like that get laughed at, you know, when they go around in indigenous circles, you know, like around the Mongoloids and stuff like that. They laugh at them. Okay? An idiot. There's other comments, but I'm not going to waste my time with it. Let me see what time we're dealing with. All right. But y'all see why I go off. You know? And this has been going on. This has been going on for years. You know? You know what I'm saying? It ain't. This didn't just happen yesterday. I have to deal with this stuff all the time. All right, so we left off at here. With Lost Feather. Robert Strong Rivers. And he had another group that was around back in the days, okay, coming from the indigenous perspective, but he also had sense enough to know that we were Moors, okay? Because like I told you before, the only ones during that time in the 90s and early 2000s that was saying that we were, particularly the 90s, let's say the 90s, because during 2000 you had other groups and individuals starting to crop up who were latching on to the quote-unquote black, being the Aboriginal people of the land, started jumping on the bandwagon. But, again, they were jumping on the bandwagon. Okay, they were jumping on the Moorish bandwagon. Okay, not the other way around. Some people try to make you think that the Moors jumped on the Aboriginal bandwagon. No, absolutely not. It's the other way around. It's the Negroes wearing feathers and buckskin who jumped on the bandwagon of the Moors. And we're going to prove that as we continue later on. And if you have evidence to the contrary, prove it. Prove it. Just show us some documentation. Otherwise, it's hearsay. It's Charlie Brown. Okay? That's all it is. All right? And again, not upset, not mad. I'm just stating the fact. One second. Anyway, yeah, so we left off with Lost Feather, okay? And this is the information from their website. Again, it's coming from an Aboriginal perspective, but he acknowledges that we're Moors, okay? And let's see. So if you're just joining in for the first time, if you want to know more about this group and what we talked about, you'll have to go back to the previous presentation. I think we're now, let me see, I think we're now on part 6, maybe. I think we're on part 6, I think. Anyway, I'll put it up on the video. By now, if you're watching it, it's already there. Okay. I haven't edited this yet, but I mean, I haven't uploaded this yet, but let's see. So we're moving on. All right, so now I'm going to share with y'all. So as I told y'all earlier in I think like the first or second presentation, all of this stuff about us being aboriginal to this land and stuff like that, we who are copper colored, comes from the Moors and the Moors adept lessons. All right? And those adept lessons taught that we were always here in the Americas. Okay? And those lessons are, those, or should I say, that history is only known by those who run government and high up Masons. Okay? Outside of that, you got to dig really deep, you know, or if you, you know, belong to a Moorish temple or whatever, you know. Other than that, you know, it's going to be very hard to find. You have to do a lot of digging. See, these lessons were oral history. It wasn't like, you know, the lessons came with references where you can go and research that stuff. So as I told you before, you know, you had, you know, people like Hakim Bey, Jose Pimenta Bey, you know, all those different people who came, different Moors who came and made those lessons available, you know, and accessible to people who were outside of the temple. Okay? And you know, Hakim Bey, Taj Street Bey. There's a whole lot of them, you know, if and in this presentation, you know, I'm not mentioning everybody because, you know, I'm just trying to, there were others, but I'm just trying to give, so if I left anybody out, don't be offended, you know. This is just, I'm just giving like an overview of the literature, okay? Because of the interest of time. So this is one of the, so Hakim Bey put out added lessons back in the days. And this is one of the lessons, 9. It was like 12 altogether. Okay. And this right here is one of the lessons. Lesson 9, the 5 episodes of history. All right. And these are taken from the Clock of Destiny, CM Bay lessons. All right. CM Bay stands for Charles Mosley Bay. Pardon the quality of the book here. This is how I bought it. Okay. As a matter of fact, this is the actual physical. And as you can see, this is so old. This goes back so far. You can see that the staples have already rusted. You can see that rust. All that is rust. Staples broke off, and the staples and the paper clip just broke off and rusted. That's how old this is. Okay, so CM Bay, Charles Mosley Bay. That's what the CM stands for. Charles Mosley is his last name. All right, and PhD, LLD, 360-degree free Master Mason. Okay, and his stuff is recorded in the Library of Congress. Okay, this is him here, CM Bay, Charles Mosley Bay. All right. So trust me, all of you who are coming with this Aboriginal information and stuff like that, y'all owe this brother a huge debt. A huge debt. Okay? Because you wouldn't have a movement if it were not for these lessons that various Moors had made available. Okay? Noble Drew Ali. Okay? The Empress of the Washita. Okay? All right, so let's get into it. So what I'm doing now is presenting you the literature that was out and around. Okay? Like I said, this stuff was oral history. Okay? And no one. See, the thing is that you have a lot of people, who are saying, in the comments and stuff like that, well, our elders, taught us that we were Indians, this, that, and the other. And as I said, there have always been individuals who knew that we were Aboriginal. But they weren't bringing it like this. Okay, they weren't going in detail about our Aboriginal history. Okay, they'll tell you some general stuff because you got to remember, a lot of the elders with this type of knowledge were killed off. All right, so let's not pretend like you were getting all this knowledge and stuff that y'all have today from your old grandma and stuff like that. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. Stop lying. Stop lying. Stop lying. You know you didn't. Okay? You got general information, and that was it. Okay? All that stuff about, how the slave trade happened, and this being the old world and stuff like that. Your grandmother didn't tell you nothing like that. So just stop your lying. Okay? I'm not talking to anyone in particular. I'm talking in general, and the fools that leave comments in my comment section. All right? You front. So turn that music down a little bit. So I'm not going to read this whole thing, and I know it's hard on the eyes of the viewers because it's hard on my eyes. All right, again, this is how I bought this. But again, also, this is a copy as well, scanned, so the resolution is even worse than it is, with the physical copy. But I want to pay particular attention to part 4 on this page. And it says, undoubtedly, follow me here. You know, I'm not making this up. You know, I'm read along. Undoubtedly, white society has educated us to believe that our forefathers that our forefathers were brought from Africa to the Americas as Negro slaves, which is the biggest white lie that the world has ever known. Please excuse my English slang. The biblical St. Paul says, prove all things, hold fast that which is good. Well, here is my proof. The original ancient North, Central, and South Africa is known today as North, Central, and South America. Without a doubt or contradiction, the Moabite calendar year is 51,860 AM. This is continued in episode 2. I'm going to go there now. This is very hard to read. Okay, episode 2. Okay, again, this is Clock of Destiny, Moorish Birthrights, National Order of the Great Seal, registered with the Library of Congress, CM Bay. All right. Humanitarian Movement, episode 2. So what I just read to you shows you, and again, this is coming from CM Bay's lesson. So anyone trying to say that they got this knowledge, that they had this knowledge in this kind of detail, saying that the old world was over here and stuff like that, you know, that's what he's saying here. This was the old world right here, okay? There was nobody coming from the quote-unquote Indian perspective back in the days who was saying this stuff. And anybody else who claims otherwise, I want you to show your picture. Don't have an icon, show your picture and let me see, and I'll let you know if I saw you at a powwow back in the days. Okay? All right? If I ain't see you, then, you know, if I don't know you, then, you know, it's a bunch of hogwash. All right? Bunch of hogwash. All right? What reservations you been on? I don't know you. Wasn't until later in the game that y'all started jumping on the bandwagon, talking about slave trade wasn't real and didn't happen the way they say it happened and this, that, and the other. Y'all jumped on the bandwagon later. All y'all were talking about, y'all were runaway African slaves. And that's a fact. Y'all the ones that I had problems with at powwows back in the days with that foolishness. Talking about y'all runaway Africans. All right, so it says here, the original ancient North, Central, and South Africa comprised the cradle of humanity and civilization, which is the land of the Moabite Moorish nation, with the fathers of humanity and civilization. There is no human history which can go beyond the Moabite Moorish nation, our real forefathers, descendants from the Moorish nation. What our forefathers were, we are today without a doubt or contradiction, namely Moorish. Therefore, the fact remains that our inherited nationality is Moorish, but not Negro. Okay? Not Negro. Negro is a colorable nationality, but not Negroes. And that's pretty much as far as, I wanted to go with this. I just wanted to show you that that narrative that people are talking about, about this being the old world and stuff like that. Even the book by Horace Butler, When Rocks Cry Out, okay, it's an excellent book. But again, that narrative didn't start with him. All right, the Moors had been talking about that by a long shot, way before that book. Again, I received these lessons in the 90s. Okay, in the mid 90s, I received these lessons. When Rocks Cry Out didn't come out until much later, in the 2000s. Second. Yeah. So this is the book here, When Rocks Cry Out, Horace Butler. As you can see, I've been had this book a long time ago. It's all dog-eared up and highlighted up and all written written in. And, all right, so let's see. Yeah, 2009. If y'all can see that. Yeah. closely. See right there? And, oh, I got my finger in the wrong place. That was the wrong finger. All right, yeah. See where my finger is? Copyright 2009. Okay. Good book. Really good book, though. Yeah, this is an excellent read. This is an excellent read. You know. But these lessons right here, I got these in the 90s. You know. Got this book like 15 years before this was written. So, let's move on. All right, so now compare with the Indian literature around this time. See, I don't want to hear talk. Show me some literature. Show me some proof. Okay? You're making a claim. The burden of proof is on you. Okay? This is a book, Black Seminoles by Kenneth Porter. A History of a Freedom-Seeking People. This is the table of contents. Part 1. War and Peace in Florida, 1812 to 1842. 1. Their best soldiers are black. 2. This Savage and Black War. 3. The Gathering Storm. 4. From Dade's Massacre to the Siege of Camp Izard. 5. General Scott, General Call, and the Great Wahoo. 6. There is no peace. 7. Okeechobee. 8. From Suspicion to Responsibility. Part 2. The Lean Years, Indian Territory, 1842 to 1850. 9. 7 Lean Years. 10. The Exodus to Mexico. Part 3. The Sanctuary, Mexico, 1850 to 1870. This land, 11. This land was bought with blood. 12. Perils on the border. 13. Adrift in the Laguna. Part 4. The Seminole Negro Indian Scouts, 1870 to 1914. 14. Black Watch on the Rio Grande. 15. Blood on the Saddle. 16. The End of the Scouts. Part 5. The Father of His People, Mexico, 1876 to 1882. Okay, and here's the foreword. All right. Among millions of Africans who survived the Middle Passage were the ancestors of the people who would become known as the Black Seminoles. These descendants of Africans from many cultural and linguistic backgrounds skillfully adapted to confront complex and mutable geographical and physical circumstances in multiple locations throughout North America and the Caribbean. Adaptability ensured their survival and proved instrumental in resisting enslavement and achieving freedom. The two Spanish periods in Florida, 1565 to 1783 and 1783 to 1821, provide real opportunities for enslaved Africans from plantations in Alabama, Georgia, and the Carolinas to self-liberate from bondage. Although small numbers of Africans had been crossing the U.S.-Florida border years earlier, Spanish Florida became more plausible a destination for sanctuary when the king issued an edict in 1693 promising freedom to those who managed to escape, provided they adopt Catholicism and they participate in the defense of Spanish Florida against American aggressors. The assurance encouraged many more enslaved Africans, Aboriginals, enslaved Aborigines, enslaved Aborigines, enslaved Aborigines, no, enslaved Africans to seize the opportunity to secure their freedom at the risk of being captured and punished severely if caught. The freedom seekers who successfully reached Florida forged alliances not only with the Spaniards but also with the Seminole Indians. Seminole Aborigines, Seminole Aborigines, Seminole Aborigines, no, Seminole Indians, meaning Mongoloids. The black Seminoles, see, black. See, why are they not just Seminoles? They're hyphenated Seminoles, meaning not original Seminoles. According to y'all back in the days. Black Indians back in the days. The Black Seminoles, history of a freedom-seeking people, is the product of more than 40 years of Kenneth W. Porter's meticulous research about the Africans, about the Aborigines, about the Aborigines, about the Aborigines, no, about the, he says, about the Africans who became allied with the Seminoles. He examines their relationship through time, starting with their lives in Florida, continuing with their exodus from Florida, and ending with their forced resettlement in the western regions of North America, including Indian Territory and Texas in the United States, and Nacimiento de los Negros and Laguna de Parras in Mexico. The draft of the original 700-page manuscript, placed with Porter's other papers and documents in the Schomburg Center for Research in Black History by William Loren Katz, who wrote the book Black Indians, was methodically edited and updated over a 3-year period by Alcyone M. Amos and Thomas P. Center after Porter's death in 1981. And Porter was writing this stuff before, about Black Indians, before William Loren Katz, by the way. A debt of gratitude is owed to them for enabling his substantial work to become part of the scholarly record. Porter's death was completed in 1947, and he continued to work on it while publishing journal articles about this obscure topic. Although not discussed in his book, details of scroll up. Did I skip too far? Oh, okay, no wonder. Details of the even lesser known group of Black Seminoles who eluded the forced removal west by escaping east to the Bahamas are revealed in Porter's journal publications. This edited version of Porter's original manuscript illuminates the complex and dangerous circumstances that characterize the lives of the Black Seminoles, though densely vivid details. Those words are cut off. Can't even make out what those words are. The ink is faded on there. Anyway, I don't need to read this whole thing. You get the narrative. Okay, the narrative is Black Indians, the product of African runaway slaves, and Mongoloid Indians. I mean, ain't much arguing you can do with that. This is the literature that was out during that time. You have two groups. Okay? One group saying that we were not all brought here from Africa as slaves. We are aboriginal to the land. Another group, okay, and this group, it says we are not here. One group saying that we're not all brought here from Africa as slaves, that we are indigenous Moors. The other group saying we are Black Indians, product of African runaway slaves and Mongoloid Indians. Two groups. Okay? So if it were not for this group, the Moors, you wouldn't have a movement today. Y'all just be a bunch of Negroes running around here talking about y'all African runaway slaves with Indian blood. Trying to find out your blood quantum. And trying to be accepted by Mongoloid Indians in a tribe. Trying to get into a reservation. And them continually rejecting you. Just because one or two are able to make it in means nothing. We're talking about the majority of the people. Most of y'all don't even know who your great grandmama is. Talking about joining a tribe, proving your blood quantum and all that. Okay, and on that note, we're going to end this off for today. Right? It's time to eat. All those who fell by the wayside, too bad. Y'all miss out. Because we just dealing with the lineage. We ain't even dealing with the history yet. All right. But again, I'm not mad. I'm just stating the facts. I'm just stating the facts. And I'm pretty sure there'll be more falling off by the wayside. Again, this is not monetized, so I could care less. I'm not making money off of this. I don't need you anyway. You know, you ain't taking no money out of my pocket. I don't depend on this for a living. I'm not looking for a following. I don't want anyone following me. I'm not trying to start a movement. All right? So you're not hurting me. You know what I'm saying? You're not hurting me. You know? You're not. unsubscribe. I don't care. You know, it just tells me that you like to be lied to. And as I told you before, Negroes love to be lied to. You love it. You love it. They love it. Trust me. All you Caucasians listening, Negroes love to be lied to. Okay? The majority of them. See, because when you get information that's contrary to your belief, see, this whole Aboriginal thing has become a religion. Okay? And now I'm coming with something that tramples on your religious dogma. See what I'm saying? Then cognizant dissonance starts to set in. Okay? Negroes do not like to read. All right? Trust me, Caucasian folk, Negroes do not like to read. All you do, you sit up and you go from YouTube clip to YouTube clip, and you listen to what this one got to say and what that one got to say. Okay? And you go by that. You're not going to pick up a book and research for your own or fact check for yourself. You're not going to do that. You rather someone do the research for you. They say you want to hide something from a Negro, put it in a book. No truer words have ever been spoken. Okay? But again, I'm not upset. I'm just passionate right now. All right? But, you know, I'm just stating the facts as they are, man. You know, unsubscribing like that's gonna like that's gonna do something to me like that, you know. I mean, that's petty. That's petty. Because you don't agree with what I say. Talking about something you weren't even born to experience. You just fell out of the room 2 minutes ago. Okay? The thing about Negroes is, see, when Negroes get into something, you know, y'all always take stuff and run with it. All right? You become Muslim and you want to out-Arab the Arab. You become Indian and you want to out-Indian the Indian. Okay? All of a sudden, you an authority, you know, on Indian matters. You know, are you a chief? You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, you an authority. Okay? All of a sudden, you can critique where dances come from, you know, and who they stole it from. You know, oh, those that music, it's not our music. We didn't dance that way. You know, they stole that from us. Okay? And then when I ask the question, okay, so, well, who did they steal it from? Okay, all of a sudden, we hear crickets. Okay? And you get mad at me because I'm asking you a question. You make a statement. You're saying, okay, we didn't dance that way. They stole those dances from us. And I ask you, okay, well, who did they steal it from? I'm asking a legitimate question. Who stole what from where? And you can't answer the question. You can hear a rat piss on cotton. Okay, some idiot left that comment a couple of idiots left those comments in my comment section over a year ago, and I still haven't heard a response yet. Yet you're going to get upset at me for asking the question because you heard this nonsense from somebody else and you're going to come and regurgitate it to me, and you didn't research it on your own. So you accept me to just sit back and accept what you said just on face value without asking you to prove your claim. A bunch of nonsense. Not here. Not the Feerce Truth-Seeker. That's why I was given the name Feerce Truth-Seeker. Because I fiercely seek the truth. All right? Anyway, on that note, I'm out of here. Again, am I wrong? In the comment section. I mean, for asking for proof. When someone making a claim, making accusations, all of a sudden you're super Indian with a big eye on your chest. You know, you got a big fry bread power on your chest. You're Mr. Fry Bread now. Okay? And I ask you to prove what you're saying. Not just regurgitate what you heard someone else say. Am I wrong for asking for proof? And if someone has the audacity to leave a comment in my comment section saying, you know, that I'm wrong, that I shouldn't be screaming over that. I'm not screaming just talking off of my head. I'm raising a legitimate question. Okay? This is a legitimate concern. But anyway, until the next time, go to dog, go home, eat.